All things in the world are brilliant, only I am shining and dazzling. The Empire of Sun and Moon, with the strongest talent for soul mentors, is bound to the ultimate soul mentor system, and will surely stand at the top of the world, killing gods with mortal bodies. At the Soul Master competition, Laughing Red Dust defeated the evil Fire Phoenix Soul Emperor Xiaotao and killed the White Tiger Soul Emperor Zaiheng, stepping on the eternal honor of Shrek Academy to win the championship. The second Soul Master competition swept the Holy Spirit Sect team with the power of Soul Guides, annihilated the Ontological Sect team, and ravaged the Shrek team. The army of the Sun and Moon Empire is stationed under the Star City, with soul-guided rays piercing through Huiyuhao's heart. Under the firepower of soul-guided cannons, the dragon god Doloa Bebe and Xuanwu Doloa Su Sanshur are dead without any corpses. The gods are high above, deluding to rewrite the order of the world. Laughing Red Dust stood in the sky, overlooking the descending divine King Tang San. And behind him, there are 100 god-slaying soul-guided shells. The protagonist is not a traveler. System flow, keywords of the novel. Peerless Tang Men. Ultimate Soul Mentor no pop-ups, Peerless Tang Men. Ultimate Soul Mentor complete collection download, Peerless Tang Men. Ultimate Soul Mentor latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Three-legged golden toad laughs in the red dust. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Three-legged golden toad laughs in the red dust, detected host laughing in the mortal world, ultimate soul mentor system binding. Sun and Moon Empire, Mingdu, Sun and Moon Royal Soul Mentor Academy. The white-haired boy stood on a metal instrument, shining with a golden luster, transforming into a three-legged golden toad and appearing behind him. Okay. The short and chubby middle-aged man beside him was overjoyed, looking at the martial soul behind the boy. He already felt that his grandson was a genius soul mentor. Is this the martial soul? Xiao Hongchen turned her head and looked at the three-legged golden toad behind her, with a smile on her lips. He looked around, wanting to know where the voice from earlier came from. His brow furrowed slightly, thinking it was a hallucination. Laugh, hurry up and test your innate soul power. Jing Hongchen excitedly closed the martial soul awakening instrument and urged, laughing Hongchen's martial soul awakening has been completed. Now let's see his innate soul power. Okay. Zaiheng walked down from the martial soul awakening instrument and approached the nearby instrument, placing her hand on the surface of the instrument. On the side, there were 10 squares on the vertical striped instrument, all of which lit up in an instant, and the mirror red dust was filled with excitement. Ha ha ha, great. With innate soul power, there is someone in my red dust family to succeed. Jing Hongchen was overjoyed and immediately looked at the girl beside her, Meng Hongchen. The siblings are twins, and all the medicinal baths used on Xiao Hongchen's body have been used by Meng Hongchen. Xiao Hongchen has awakened the three-legged golden toad martial soul and the innate full soul power. Even if Meng Hongchen is not as good as Xiao Hongchen, there is not much difference. Brother, is this the most powerful three-legged golden toad in our family's martial soul? Meng Hongchen said in a milky voice, excitedly looking at the martial soul behind Xiao Hongchen. In the Empire of Sun and Moon, there are only a few powerful martial souls. Apart from the three major martial souls inherited by the royal family, there are only the star-like martial soul and the three-legged golden toad martial soul. The most powerful soul master in the Sun and Moon Empire is undoubtedly the soul master, and the three-legged golden toad soul master undoubtedly possesses the most powerful talent for soul masters. Among the powerful members of the red dust family throughout history, the strongest one is the one with the three-legged golden toad martial soul. As an imperial marshal, he attacked the three major empires and even killed the Star Luo Emperor White Tiger Doluo, which was also the biggest reason for the change of the Star Luo throne. Zaiheng nodded and looked at Meng Hongchen, who was panting beside her, encouraging her, "Dream, you should also awaken your martial soul quickly. You will definitely awaken a powerful martial soul." The inherited martial soul of the red dust family is the toad. However, over the years, there have been many mutated toad martial souls, including the three-legged golden toad, the Zhu Qingbing toad, the five poisonous toad, as well as many highly poisonous and special ability toad martial souls. There is even a person who awakened a toad martial soul with both spiritual and toxic attributes. Okay. Meng Hongchen ran excitedly and walked up to the awakening instrument, eagerly looking at Mirror Hongchen. Haha, don't worry, Dream, your martial soul is definitely not bad. Jing Hongchen smiled and said, opening the martial soul awakening instrument to awaken the martial soul for Dream Hongchen. The girl closed her eyes, and the martial soul awakening instrument was activated again. A strong soul power condensed, and without any accidents, it was still the toad martial soul. After seeing that Dream Red Dust's martial soul had 4 legs, a hint of disappointment flashed in Mirror Red Dust's eyes. Dream Red Dust's hair color was similar to his, and he did not awaken the 3-legged golden toad martial soul like her twin brother Laughing Red Dust. Perhaps he could only awaken the toad martial soul like him. However, Jing Hongchen was not disappointed. His granddaughter's talent is definitely not bad. Even an ordinary toad martial soul, he is confident in cultivating Dream Hongchen into a strong person. With Laughing Hongchen, he is not very worried about his granddaughter's future. Isn't he just an ordinary toad martial soul? The strength of the martial soul is not the most important in the Sun and Moon Empire. As long as you have the talent to become a level 9 soul mentor, even the innate level 1 soul power can push you to the realm of the title Doluo. But in the next moment, the red and blue light shone, causing Mirror Hongchen to completely freeze in place. Haha, good. Ha ha ha. Mirror Red Dust burst into laughter. Apart from the day he became the 9th level soul mentor, he had never been as excited as he is today. The 3-legged golden toad martial soul and Zhu Qingbing toad martial soul, the 2 most powerful martial souls in the history of the family, appeared at the same time. A hint of ambition gradually appeared in Jing Hongchen's eyes. Now that the Sun and Moon Empire has developed for many years, its strength has already surpassed the 3 major empires. Under his management, the reputation of the Red Dust family has almost reached its peak, and he is in charge of the Mingda Hall, with a position in the Sun and Moon Empire that is no less than that of the Royal Prince. At the same time, he is also one of the top 5 soul mentors in the Sun and Moon Empire, and he is not afraid of anyone except for the senior member of the royal family. Dream, test your innate soul power. Jing Hongchen hid her thoughts, closed the martial soul awakening instrument, and said to Dream Hongchen, your martial soul is Zhu Qingbing toad, no worse than the laughing 3-legged golden toad martial soul. Of course. Meng Hongchen proudly raised her head, glanced at Zaiheng with pride, and walked up to the instrument for testing innate soul power. After putting my hand on it, there was no accident, and it had the same innate soul power as Laughing Red Dust. Publish initial task, create a soul guide, and reward beginners with a large gift package upon completion of the task. Is that the same voice as before? Zaiheng glanced at her grandfather and found that he had no reaction. She couldn't help but wonder, is there anyone who can use their spiritual power to communicate with her under her grandfather's nose, and still not be discovered? Jing Hongchen patiently became excited and said to the 2 children, you guys go back first. We'll celebrate for you in the family tonight, and tomorrow I'll personally take you to obtain the first soul ring. Okay, the siblings said in unison. Dream Red Dust was excited now, so she agreed directly, while Laughing Red Dust wanted to quickly go back and make a soul guide. As a young master of the Red Dust family, I am bound to become a soul mentor in the future. Prior to this, I have also been exposed to a lot of related knowledge, but because I do not have soul power, I have not tried to make soul guides. This self-proclaimed system gave him a task to make a soul guide, and after completing it, rewarded the novice with a big gift package. It sounds like a reward from joining some faction. Laughing Red Dust quietly walked out of Mingda Hall with Dream Red Dust under the guidance of Mirror Red Dust. Outside, there was a butler from the Red Dust family waiting for them, named Sun Hongqian, a soul saint and 7th level soul mentor. Xiao Sun, bring Xiao and Meng home. They have great talents and are the hope of the future of the Red Dust family. Jing Hongqian's face was flushed, and after settling in with Sun Hongqian, she quickly left without even mentioning the martial soul and innate soul power of Xiao and Meng Hongqian. Sun Hongqian looked at Mirror Hongqian in surprise. He had been following Mirror Hongqian since he was young. Apart from the day he became a 9th level soul mentor, he had never seen Mirror Hongqian lose his composure before. He couldn't help but curiously look at the two little guys following him. Xiao Hongqian proudly said, "My dream and I have awakened the 3-legged golden toad martial soul and Zhu Qingbing toad martial soul, both of which are innate full soul powers." "I see." Sun Hongqian's eyes lit up, innate full of soul power. This kind of talent is very rare in the Sun and Moon Empire. Unlike the 3 major empires with many sects and powerful soul master families, the Sun and Moon Empire does not have many powerful martial souls. Apart from the royal family, few people can awaken their martial souls and possess innate soul power. Even the head of their Red Dust family, Mirror Red Dust, was originally just a 9th level innate soul power. Now these two children have awakened their innate full soul power, which means that the Red Dust family will have 2 more 9th level soul mentors in the future. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Ultimate Soul Mentor System. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 3. Metal Soul Beast. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Metal Soul Beast. The next noon, Huan Hongqian left Mingdu with his siblings. Huan Hongqian was wearing a brocade robe with a black toad embroidered on it, indicating that her identity was not simple. Xiao Hongqian's white short hair was cut into small pieces, with a slight sense of disorder, but it was very clean, wearing white clothes. Dream Red Dust tied her wine red hair into a ponytail and wore clothes similar to Laughing Red Dust. With the power of the Red Dust family, it is possible to capture 200-year-old soul beasts and bring them to Mingdu for fusion. However, as a soul master, even a soul master will eventually have to come into contact with the soul beasts and experience them in the wild in advance, which will be beneficial to them. The laughing 3-legged golden toad soul makes him the most suitable soul mentor to use soul-guided cannons. According to the records of the strong 3-legged golden toad soul in the family's history, the first soul ring of the 3-legged golden toad soul is best from the metal spirit, which can increase affinity and control over metal. The Zhu Qing ice toad martial soul of dream has ice and fire attributes, possessing terrifying toxins. Therefore, in order to obtain a soul ring for you, the first soul ring only needs to be a soul beast with highly venomous abilities. For the subsequent soul rings, you can choose a soul beast soul ring that can give you control and strong attack soul skills. Huan Hongqian fully utilizes his own insights and understanding of these two martial souls. As a family inheriting martial souls, it has long been clear what needs to be integrated into the soul rings of the 3-legged golden toad and Zhu Qingbing toad martial souls, without any hesitation or contemplation. Huan Hongqian said, "There is a mine more than 20 kilometers north of the Mingdu, which used to belong to the royal family. After most of the rare metals were mined and abandoned, highly toxic substances gradually emerged inside. The previous emperor rewarded it to our Hongqian family to search for the first 3 soul rings for their children. There are also many metal spirits needed for laughter there, because few members of the family can awaken the 3-legged golden toad martial soul, so no one hunts and kills the metal spirits there. And if dreams are suitable for your soul beasts, then there are even more. That used to be a mining cave, so there were metal spirits suitable for laughter. However, in damp places like mining caves, it is easy to give birth to the 5 poisons. Among them, there is a soul beast called the 5-poison toad, which is perfect as your first soul ring." Of course, Huan Hongqian would not take them on foot. He took out a flying soul guide equipment, which was somewhat special. In addition to the user's position, there were also 2 positions. This flying soul guide looked new, as if it had not been used before. Bring laughing red dust and dream red dust together, and the illusory red dust flies towards the direction of the mine. Compared to ordinary flying soul guides, this flying soul guide can also form a shield to resist the wind and waves during the flight, so that laughing red dust and dream red dust do not feel any discomfort, and even laughing red dust's hairstyle is not messy. During the flight, dream red dust happily enjoyed the scenery and occasionally shouted and laughed at red dust to watch together. Zaiheng observed the soul guide that took them flying. Unlike ordinary flying soul guides, it had a shell and an additional soul guide formation that could form a shield, which was not much different from ordinary flying soul guides. However, because we need to carry the 2 of them, this flying soul guide cannot be made into a biomimetic soul guide, and its appearance is not very attractive. With the soul power of level 89 in the fantasy world, he arrived at the abandoned mine that the royal family had rewarded to the Red Dust family with laughing red dust and dream red dust in just over 10 minutes. This abandoned mine looks quite large, and the entire mountain where the mine is located belongs to the Red Dust family. Therefore, strong guards are specially dispatched to guard it, mainly for the metal spirit inside. Some poisonous soul beasts have specific places to exist, but metal spirits can only be born in mines, and the higher the quality of rare metals in mines, the higher the quality of metal spirits. This mine once produced a rare metal called Tianjinshi, which is capable of making 9th-level soul guides. Therefore, the metal spirits born here are almost comparable to the top bloodline soul beasts. However, because it is an artificially mined mine, it is no longer possible to give birth to 2 powerful metal spirits here. Without sufficient metal breath to nourish them, it is difficult for their strength to continue to improve. Huan Elder. The person guarding the mine respectfully salutes the Huan mortal world. He is a level 5 soul mentor who voluntarily goes here to guard the mine after his potential is depleted, contributing his own strength to the family. As the 2nd strongest member of the Red Dust family, Huan Hongqian is naturally the elder of the Red Dust family, while Jing Hongqian is the clan leader. In the Red Dust family, those who are older than the 2 of them have all fallen into the soil. Apart from Mirror Red Dust, the Dream Red Dust family is the largest. Huan Hongqian nodded and asked, Xiao Zhou, haven't the positions of those metal spirits changed? Zhou Hongqian quickly said, don't worry, elder. I will enter the mine once a week and drive the soul beasts inside to a fixed position. The soul beast in the abandoned mine has the highest lifespan of only 1,000 years. As a 5th-level soul mentor and a strong soul king, Zhou Hongqian can easily deal with the Millennium Soul Beast, except for the difficulty of dealing with the Millennium Metal Spirit. Okay. Huan Hongqian patted his shoulder with satisfaction and turned to Xiao Hongqian, asking, laugh, do you know any other benefits of a soul ring that blends metal spirits, besides providing you with a powerful soul skill? Laughing at Huan Hongqian in confusion, he shook his head. Before awakening the 3-legged golden toad soul yesterday, his understanding of the 3-legged golden toad soul was only the most powerful among the family's inherited martial souls, and he knew nothing else. The metal spirit, as the name suggests, is a metal that possesses spirituality and eventually transforms into a soul beast. The metal spirits in this mine are all heavenly gold stones that possess spirituality. After integrating the soul rings of the metal spirit, you can use the ability of the 3-legged golden toad soul to absorb metal and enhance the soul power of the metal spirit's main body, heavenly gold stones. At this point, Huan Hongqian couldn't help but exclaim, if my martial soul were a 3-legged golden toad, even in this current situation, I would be confident in breaking through level 90 of soul power. The 3-legged golden toad, as an extremely rare beast martial soul, has a very special ability, which is to control metal. No matter what type of metal it is, it can be controlled by him, and even the owner of the 3-legged golden toad soul can assist in their own cultivation by absorbing energy from some rare metals. I was prepared for this, Huan Hongqian smiled mysteriously and said, We will first search for a suitable soul beast for Dream, and then take you to find the metal spirit to merge the soul ring. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. The First Soul Ring of Dream World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 5. Ambition in the World of Illusion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Ambition in the World of Illusion. Xiao Hongqian picked up the blanket lying on the ground, while Huan Hongqian took out a box, collected the body of the 5-poisoned toad, and helped Xiao Hongqian clean the soul guide dagger before returning it to him. The toxins of the 5-poisoned toad have a great potential to be used, which can be applied to some soul guides or used to make poison attribute soul-guided shells from the 5-poisoned toad's venom sacs. The body of the 5-poisoned toad, which has been around for over 400 years, can be sold for at least over 1,000 gold soul coins at the Mingdu auction. The metal spirit lives in the deepest part of the mine, with a special soul guide that traps them inside and prevents them from leaving. However, now, there is another thing. Huan Hongqian looked at Xiao Hongqian seriously and asked, "The choice of this matter lies with you. Do you want to merge a metal soul ring that has been around for 400 or 500 years, or a metal soul ring that has been around for 1,000 years?" Zaiheng was stunned and asked, "Isn't the limit of the first soul ring more than 400 years? Even if I take a medicinal bath before awakening my martial soul, I can only merge soul rings that have been around for more than 500 years at most, right? The normal situation is like this, but integrating soul rings under 10,000 years old, as long as the physical fitness is sufficient, there will be no danger." Huan Hongqian explained, "The 3-legged golden toad soul master can absorb the soul ring of the metal spirit together with the opponent's body. If you confuse a soul ring of a millennium-old metal spirit, it can at least increase your soul power by 5 levels or more. To improve your physical fitness, I can obtain Millennium Whale Gel, combined with special drugs, which can give you the physical fitness to integrate Millennium Soul Rings within a month. The specific choice is still up to you. If you want to merge a 500-year-old metal soul ring, you can merge it in the mine. If you want to merge a Millennium Metal Soul Ring, I will bring the only Millennium Metal Soul Ring back to Mingdu here and help you improve your physical fitness to the level where you can merge the Metal Soul Ring within a month." Upon hearing Huan Hongqian's words, Xiao Hongqian was clearly hesitating. Huan Hongqian did not urge him, waiting for Xiao Hongqian's choice. Meng Hongqian obediently remained silent and looked at her brother quietly. Zaiheng suddenly looked up and asked, "Can't I merge the 9,000-year-old metal soul ring?" "Second grandpa, you should have a way to help me." Huan Hongqian was stunned, and then he burst out laughing and said, "I really didn't see you wrong, you are just like me in those days. I certainly have a way to merge your first soul ring with a 9,000-year soul ring, but during this process, it will take 6 months to take medication and special natural resources and treasures. However, you are only 6 years old now and have serious sequelae of overdevelopment. If you want to never reach 1.5 meters in your future life, that's fine." Upon hearing these words, Zaiheng quickly shook her head and said, "Then I'll just merge the metal soul ring that has been around for thousands of years." Huan Hongqian smiled and said, "Don't worry, in the next month, I will search for heavenly materials and earthly treasures and pills to enhance your physical fitness. They will definitely allow you to integrate the Millennium Metal Soul Ring. While these heavenly materials and earthly treasures and pills can improve your physical fitness, they can also increase your soul power by several levels. By integrating the Millennium Metal Soul Ring, your soul power level is likely to reach nearly 20 levels." Upon hearing the words of Huan Hongqian, Xiao Hongqian was also very excited. The 6-year-old second ring soul master is almost unprecedented in the Sun and Moon Empire, right? Afterwards, they went deep into the mine under the guidance of Huan Hongqian. In the depths of the mine, Huan Hongqian took away the 1,300-year-old metal spirit, and then returned to Mingdu with his siblings. In the following month, Zaiheng first took a piece of Millennium Whale Gel, and then some pills to improve her physical fitness. These pills were very precious, one of which was called the Longyang Pill, and even used the painstaking efforts of the Dragon Girl, which could enhance the potential of ordinary soul masters and even promote the evolution of ordinary martial souls. But here in the world of laughter, the function of this pill is only to improve physical fitness and lay the foundation for integrating Millennium Soul Rings. In addition to improving physical fitness, what Zaiheng is still doing this month is learning soul guidance knowledge and first-level soul guidance formations. After he took out the system reward for his golden mangle carving knife, Huan Hongchen was also somewhat surprised. Of course he knows this carving knife. He has seen it in a book, and it is one of the lost inheritance carving knives of his mortal family. It is now ranked 9th on the carving knife list and has been ranked first on the carving knife list for thousands of years as a powerful carving knife. The carving knife forged by Marshal Jinchan, who led the army of the Sun and Moon Empire in the Great War against the Three Empires, was made from the scraps of the metal spirit body that had been used for 100,000 years. Originally the top rare metal, golden mang iron, it has been transformed into a metal spirit with 100,000 years of cultivation. Most of the golden mang iron, the body of the metal spirit, has been absorbed by the golden toad dolua, leaving behind a small portion to forge this carving knife. The golden mang carving knife has no other characteristics, only its sharpness, which can easily pierce everything. Even the title dolua of the defense system and the 9th level soul guide of the defense category cannot withstand the sharpness of the golden mang, and it is called a divine artifact by many. And finally, a month later, after testing his physical fitness on a registered instrument, Xiao Hongchen showed level 32, which means he can merge the soul ring of the 1,361-year-old metal spirit. Zaiheng followed Huan Hongchen to his room, intending to merge the millennium-old metal soul ring here. Xiao Hongchen held something in his hand that looked like a jar, inside which was a human head-sized heavenly gold stone. It was the Millennium Metal Spirit brought back by Huan Hongchen from the abandoned mine, and this Millennium Metal Spirit was sealed inside this level 5 soul guide. Huan Hongchen smiled and said, "Don't put too much pressure. With your current physical condition, there won't be any accidents with the soul ring that blends this metal spirit." Zaiheng nodded and, with the help of Huan Hongchen, opened the soul guide in his hand. The metal spirit did not wake up, and Zaiheng directly divided the huge heavenly gold stone in half with a golden light. In an instant, a purple soul ring floated out. Zaiheng closed her eyes excitedly and began to pull the Millennium Metal Soul Ring. The three-legged golden toad martial soul appeared behind her. Huan Hongchen watched this scene nervously, facing the terrifying talent of Xiao Hongchen. He had a very bold idea. In this month, Zaiheng produced several first-level soul guides. He is the youngest first-level soul mentor in the Sun and Moon Empire. With such terrifying talent as a soul mentor, coupled with the three-legged golden toad martial soul, what Huan Hongchen wants is not just one victory, but 2 championships led by Zaiheng. Champion of the Continent Advanced Soul Master Academy Soul Fighting Competition. The next Continent Advanced Soul Master Academy Soul Battle Competition will be postponed for another 5 years, and the next one will be 8 years later, at the age of 14. He is confident that he will cultivate 14-year-old Xiao Hongchen to become a Soul King cultivator, and then he can participate in the Continent Advanced Soul Master Academy Soul Battle Competition with Dream Hongchen as a reserve team for the Sun Moon Royal Soul Master Academy. In this month, Huan Hongchen has confirmed one thing, which is that Xiao Hongchen and Dream Hongchen have the martial soul fusion skill, but their cultivation is too weak. Xiao Hongchen has not yet fused the first soul ring and cannot cast it. 8 years later, 2 soul kings who possess martial soul fusion skills and are also level 5 soul masters, are confident that Huan Hongchen can unleash the power of a soul emperor comparable to that of Xiao Hongchen. Coupled with the special martial soul of Dream Hongchen Zhu Qingbing Toad, he even wants Xiao Hongchen to defeat Shrek Academy twice. Huan Hongchen has never expressed her thoughts and has been keeping them in her heart, wanting to wait for a suitable opportunity to tell Xiao Hongchen. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. First Level Soul Mentor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 First Level Soul Mentor. It took Xiao Hongqian over an hour to fuse this Millennium Metal Soul Ring. After successfully fusing the Millennium Metal Soul Ring, the Millennium Metal Spirit brought back the heavenly gold stone and suddenly began to melt. Tianjin Petrochemical made a liquid and then began to atomize, directly entering Zaiheng's body. This is the greatest benefit of the Soul Ring of the three-legged Golden Toad Soul Master's fusion of the Metal Spirit, which can directly absorb the essence of the Metal Spirit. This is not an ordinary rare metal, but the top rare metal has become a Millennium Soul Beast, which is equivalent to laughing red dust directly absorbing all the soul power of a Millennium Soul Beast. Ah! Xiao Hongqian suddenly shouted in pain, startling Huan Hongqian, only to find that there was a golden light rising from her eyebrows. Is this? Huan Hongqian looked at Xiao Hongqian with some confusion, and then his eyes lit up with surprise, saying, "It's actually an external soul bone. What kind of luck is it to merge the first soul ring and obtain an external soul bone?" Huan Hongqian is almost certain that under her own cultivation, Xiao Hongqian can lead the Sun and Moon Royal Soul Mentor to win the championship for 2 consecutive terms. In the end, the golden light in the center of Laughing Red Dust's eyebrows formed a vertical eye, attached to Laughing Red Dust's eyebrows, squeezing the flesh and blood apart, looking like a third eye had grown, blood dripping and terrifying. With his white hair and heterochromatic pupils, he now resembles the image of the male lead being criticized crazily in a Ming Dynasty comic book. But this vertical eye is not connected to the visual nerve of Laughing Red Dust. It is the third eye, but not the third eye. It simply condenses an external soul bone in the center of the eyebrow. Zaiheng opened her eyes and looked at the Millennium Soul Ring under her feet. Excitedly, she said to Huan Hongqian, "Second Grandpa, I succeeded." The pain just now was mistaken by him for being brought to him by the fusion of the Millennium Soul Ring, and he didn't even know that he had obtained the external soul bone. The first soul ring, a Millennium Soul Ring, is one of the few in the history of the Sun-Moon Empire. Huan Hongqian took out the soul power testing soul guide and handed it to Xiao Hongqian, urging, "Hurry up and test your soul power. I'll tell you the specifics later." Okay. Laughing Red Dust injected soul power into the metal ball, and the number that appeared on it was 20. Just merge another soul ring, and Laughing Red Dust will become a great soul master. The 6-year-old second ring soul master, apart from the 6-winged angel soul in the Dolua continent soul hall 10,000 years ago, who had an innate level 20 soul power, has never had such a talent. Congratulations to the host on becoming a first-level soul mentor, rewarding the soul guidance space. Soul guidance space. Consciousness can enter it to make, research, and test soul guides. The time flow rate is 3 times slower than the outside world. The soul guidance space has infinite rare metals, but it cannot be taken out of the soul guidance space. The rare metals brought into the soul guidance space by the host from the outside world can be made into soul guides and taken out. Faced with the system's reward, the expression on Zaiheng's face remained unchanged, still the joy of discovering that her soul power level had reached level 20. "Laugh, you are the strongest genius in the history of the Red Dust family." Huan Hongqian looked excited. Among the previous strong figures of the Red Dust family, the strongest one was the Golden Toad Dolua, who served as the Imperial Marshal. Through the fusion of a 100,000-year metal soul ring, his soul power level finally reached level 95, and he even killed the Star Luo Emperor, the White Tiger Dolua. And now in the world of Zaiheng, it is almost certain that they have the talent to become a level 9 soul mentor. In addition, with the addition of Metal Spirit external soul bones, if they can break through to Super Dolua in the future, they will definitely surpass their ancestors. Nowadays, soul guides have developed far beyond the past, and soul mentors are even more powerful than before. As long as their cultivation catches up with their ancestors, they will be able to surpass them. Laugh, do you know that you have obtained an external soul bone that is even more precious than a 100,000-year soul ring? Huan Hongchen put his hands on Xiao Hongchen's shoulder and said seriously, with a metal spirit external soul bone that perfectly matches your three-legged golden-toed martial soul, you will become a title Dolua in the future, and even a super Dolua in the Sun and Moon Empire. When paired with a 9th level soul guide, you will be the strongest soul mentor in the Sun and Moon Empire. External soul bone. Xiao Hongchen didn't know much about external soul bone, but she also noticed something unusual in her eyebrows. She touched the external soul bone on her forehead, which looked like a gem, and curiously asked, "Second Grandpa, what is an external soul bone?" Huan Hongchen explained, there are 6 parts of the human body that can fuse soul bones, namely the limbs, trunk, and skull. The external soul bone is the soul bone outside of these 6 parts, which can continuously improve with the improvement of the soul master's strength. In the future, it can become a soul bone for 100,000 years, even surpassing 100,000 years in quality. There used to be a list on the Dolua continent about what soul masters craved the most. The first ranked item was the 100,000-year soul ring, the second was the external soul bone, and even the 100,000-year soul bone ranked third. I understand. After hearing this, Zaiheng was very happy. If he said that, wouldn't it be equivalent to having 2 100,000-year soul bones? After he created the first soul guide, the system rewarded him with a 100,000-year-old 3-legged golden-toed left arm bone, as well as the external soul bone obtained from fusing the metal soul ring just now. Huan Hongchen said, "Laugh, hit me and try your ability to possess soul bones." Second Grandpa, be careful. Zaiheng nodded and injected his soul power into the soul bone at the center of his eyebrows. Suddenly, a golden light burst out and dissipated in front of Huan Hongchen. Very strong ability. Huan Hongchen nodded and said, "The power of your external soul bone is not inferior to the second-level soul ray. With the improvement of your cultivation, the quality of the external soul bone will also improve, and in the future, it can even be comparable to the 9th-level soul ray." Grandpa Heir, do we need to find me another second soul ring now? Xiao Hongchen asked. He has already reached level 20 soul power and can easily make a first-level soul guide. Shouldn't he get a second soul ring and start trying to make a second-level soul guide? Don't worry, Huan Hongchen shook her head and said, "You have taken a lot of pills and treasures this month. Although there have been no side effects, your control of your own soul power is not very good, from the innate full soul power of awakening martial souls to the level 20 soul power after merging soul rings in a month. So in the coming month, I will take you out for training. You need to fight enemies alone, whether it's a soul master or a soul beast. After you master your soul power proficiently, I will take you to obtain the second soul ring." Zaiheng frowned and asked, "What about the dream?" "She won't be with you," said Huan Hongchen. "The soul power level of dream hasn't been crazily increased like you did. It has been increased by 10 levels within a month, and she hasn't taken any medication, so there's no need for this method. And next, I plan to take you to the Star Luo Empire, where no one uses soul guides. Basically, the abilities used are related to martial souls and there will be no unexpected situations." Between the words of Huan Hongchen, there was a denial of traditional soul masters, and Xiao Hongchen nodded. This matter did not need to be decided by him, as long as he listened to the elders. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Arriving at Xingluo City. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Arriving at Xingluo City 1 week later. Xingluo City is the imperial city of one of the 3 major empires in Dolua continent. Compared to Mingdu, which exudes a sense of technology and towering buildings, Xingluo City has a retro vibe that gives Zaiheng the first impression of decay and backwardness. Zaiheng asked in confusion, "Second Grandpa, why do we come to Xingluo City?" In his opinion, if you want to experience, shouldn't you go directly to a soul beast forest or a place with bandits? Laugh, you don't understand. Huan Hongchen chuckled and said, "There is a place called the Do Soul Field here, which is somewhat similar to the underground arena in Mingdu. Although the use of soul guides is not prohibited, they are rarely used, making it perfect for your experience. I know. Zaiheng nodded and carefully observed the things inside Xingluo city. He wanted to know what special features this city, which is comparable to Mingdu, has. Huan Hongchen didn't say much, just walked towards the Great Do Soul Field with a smile on his face. In the three major empires of Dolua continent, there were established Great Do Soul Fields, which were still as backward as 10,000 years ago. In the Empire of Sun and Moon, the establishment of such arenas has been strictly prohibited, and only the underground world will have gladiatorial arenas. Huan Hongchen handed Xiao Hongchen a golden toad mask. After Xiao Hongchen put it on, he took him into the Great Soul Fighting Field and signed up with Xiao Hongchen. The person in charge of the Do Soul Field asked calmly, name, martial soul, and soul power. The name is Jin Chan, and the martial soul is also Jin Chan, a level 20 soul master. Xiao Hongchen told the other party that her martial soul and name are both Jin Chan, but her soul power was not falsely reported. The person in charge of the Do Soul Field looked at the mortal world with some confusion and smiled. At such a young age, does one already have level 20 soul power? He had suspected that Zaiheng might be a dwarf, but Zaiheng's voice sounded very childish and could be completely certain that it was a child. The person in charge of the Do Soul Field didn't show any signs and said directly, pay 10 gold soul coins and wait until your name is called. Xiao Hongchen took out 10 gold coins and placed them on the front desk. Looking at his tender hand, the person in charge of the big soul fighting field had a hint of certainty in his eyes, and as expected, he was not very old. The Huan Hongchen beside him snorted coldly, causing him to almost faint, with a hint of fear in his eyes. The person in charge of the Great Do Soul Field quickly gave the Iron Do Soul emblem to Xiao Hongchen. The person in charge of the Do Soul Field quickly said, go there and test your soul power to confirm, and then we can arrange the competition for you. Let's go. At this moment, Huan Hongchen was also wearing a toad mask and went to the side with a smile to test his soul power level. After soul power testing and soul fighting sorting, Zaiheng was assigned to the 17th soul fighting field. Soon, it was the turn of the Laughing World competition. On the soul fighting platform, a middle-aged man in a tailcoat was standing in the center. He cleared his throat and said in a loud voice, next, we will play the 7th 1.1 soul fighting game of our 17 soul fighting fields. The player on the stage will be the War Soul Master Jin Chan, who possesses the Beast Martial Soul Gold Toad. They will face the War Soul Master Zhao Yang, who possesses the Weapon Martial Soul Death Blade. Now, let's invite two Soul Masters to come on stage. The audience on the stands is not very natural, and both of them are making their debut, so it is impossible for them to have too high a voice. Compared to thousands of years ago, the rule in the current Big Do Soul Field is to allocate according to soul rings. Otherwise, if Laughing Red Dust were to face an opponent, it would be a big Soul Master, rather than the Death Blade Soul Master they are currently facing. However, upon hearing the opponent's martial soul, Zaiheng frowned and walked up the soul fighting platform wearing a mask. Seeing such a young child wearing a mask on stage, many viewers became interested. He looked like he was at most 6 or 7 years old in the world of laughter. Even if he wore a mask, he couldn't hide it from them. He was already a soul master at such a young age, so there was no doubt he was a genius. The opponent of Laughing in the mortal world is a 13 or 14-year-old boy who looks somewhat ordinary. The other party released their martial soul, but it was just a dagger, which surprised Zaiheng. Can this still be the case? He also took out a first-level soul guide called the first-level slow light emitter, which was the most useful one among the first-level soul guides he had made. However, its firing rate and effectiveness were limited, and it could only slow down to the Soul Master, and Soul Masters in the Quick Attack series could easily dodge it. However, the opponent is a Soul Master in the realm of martial arts. As long as you shoot accurately with a smile, the opponent will definitely not be able to avoid it. As expected, when facing Zhao Yang, whose martial soul was a dagger, Xiao Hongqian fired several slow rays of light, and the opponent immediately turned into a turtle speed. Although Zhao Yang was also a sensitive attack-type soul master, Xiao Hongqian's accuracy was very high. The sensitive attack-type soul master of the weapon martial soul was not as fast as some sensitive attack-type soul masters of the beast martial soul, so he couldn't avoid it. After the slow light hit, Zaiheng no longer used this soul guide and took out a close combat soul guide long sword, directly charging forward. With a slow buff, Zhao Yang was no match for Laughing Red Dust. Under Laughing Red Dust's guard, his first soul skill, Assassination, failed to work and was easily defeated by Laughing Red Dust. In this way, Zaiheng won her first victory in the battle soul field, not even using soul skills, only using 2 first-level soul guides. Well done, Laugh. Huan Hongqian nodded with satisfaction and praised, your combat talent is excellent. The first time you use a soul guide in actual combat, you can defeat opponents in the same realm. Although your opponent is not a genius and your soul power level is not as high as yours, your soul power will always be the highest among your peers in the future high-level Soul Master Academy soul fighting competitions across the continent. Huan Hongqian confidently said, even if they are geniuses, they can never compare to you. Except for the martial soul quality that is not inferior to you, none of the inner courtyard students of Shrek Academy can match you. The future belongs to you. Does the future belong to me? Zaiheng looked up at the sky, but today's weather was not very good, with dark clouds covering the sky, making it look a bit dark. Huan Hongqian immediately signed up for the second game for Xiao Hongqian, and thus, Xiao Hongqian began his winning streak in the soul fighting arena. After the end of the 5th game, Xiao Hongqian's soul power was exhausted, and Huan Hongqian stopped and took him away from the big battle soul field. He directly picked up Zaiheng and left. There were people squatting outside, wanting to track them and investigate Zaiheng's identity, in order to win over this peerless genius. However, they come from the Empire of Sun and Moon, so they must not reveal their identities. After shaking off those people, Huan Hongqian found a hotel with a smile on his face. And Zaiheng, who had played 5 games in a day, was also a bit tired and fell asleep after arriving at the hotel. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Starlight Auction House. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Starlight Auction House. In the following time, Zaiheng participated in soul fighting every day and still played 5 matches every day, regardless of whether they won or lost. After participating in another week of matches, Zaiheng has a record of 37 wins and 3 losses in 40 matches. The 3 losses were all due to the special martial soul of the opponent. Although they were not very restrained, the combat style of those people was very strange. Sometimes, before Xiao Hongqian could react, the battle had already ended. Huan Hongqian said with satisfaction, you have a good record. Although you have an advantage in soul power level and soul guides, your age is the biggest advantage compared to them. Upon hearing this, Xiao Hongqian was very proud. Although he had lost 3 games, he was able to achieve a record of 37 wins and 3 losses in the Great Do Soul Field at the age of 6. It is probably unprecedented in the 3 major empires of Dolua continent. Huan Hongqian said, next, there's no need to go to the Big Dipper Soul Field. Today, we'll go to the Starlight Auction Field, and then we'll go directly to the Star Dipper Forest tomorrow. You need to try outdoor survival simulation training next. Of course, it's not really for you to survive in the wild, it's just to experience the environment of the Soul Beast Forest and the Soul Beast battle. Listen to Grandpierre. Zaiheng nodded and rested in the hotel, but in reality, her consciousness entered the soul guidance space. These days, in addition to participating in competitions at the Battle Soul Field, Huan Hongqian is also teaching him the knowledge of his second-level soul mentor. At night, Xiao Hongqian consciousness enters the soul guide space and tries to make soul guides inside. With infinite metal inside, Zaiheng, who is not worried about losing materials, has successfully made a second-level soul guide, but cannot bring it out. Ultimate Soul Mentor System, Host. Laughing Red Dust, Age. 6 years old, Martial Soul. 3-legged Golden Toad, Soul Ring. Purple Soul Power. Level 20, Occupation. Soul Master, Level 1 Soul Master, Special. Soul Guidance Space, Soul Bone. Metal Spirit Attached Soul Bone, can absorb rare metals to improve quality, items. 100,000-year-old 3-legged Golden Toad Soul Ring, 100,000-year-old 3-legged Golden Toad Left Arm Bone, Golden On. In this judgment rule called the system, in order to become a second-level Soul Master, one must become a great Soul Master and then create a second-level Soul Guide. Only when these two conditions are met simultaneously can one become a second-level Soul Mentor determined by the system. During this period, Zaiheng also figured out the purpose of this thing, which is to cultivate oneself into the most powerful Soul Mentor. After each level increase of the Soul Mentor, rewards will be issued. That is to say, until becoming a level 9 Soul Mentor, if not counted as a beginner's gift package, Laughing Red Dust can receive a total of 9 system rewards, but Laughing Red Dust's ambition is not limited to level 9 Soul Mentors. Because he also discovered 10-level Soul Guides, or even higher level Soul Guide design drawings, in the Soul Guide space. With the improvement of strength and the expansion of horizons, people's ambitions will continue to expand, but the goal of Laughing in the mortal world remains unchanged, becoming the most powerful Soul Mentor and the most powerful Soul Mentor in the history of the Sun and Moon Empire. The auction will be held in the evening, and the reason why Huan Hongqian brought Xiao Hongqian to participate is also because the Starlight Auction Hall sent a message to the outside world. This auction is a high-end auction, with soul bones and listed knives as the finale. Huan Hongqian itself has a ranking knife, ranking in the top 30. Naturally, you don't need that ranking knife, but you can buy it and bring it back to your family. Then there is the soul bone, and the Huan Hongqian has now fused 5 soul bones. Except for the trunk bone, the remaining 5 parts of his soul bones have all been fused. There are 2 soul bones to be sold at this Starlight auction, one of which is a torso bone, so Huan Hongqian is somewhat moved. Even if he doesn't need them himself, buying 2 soul bones to bring back to his family is the same. Anyway, as a top Soul Mentor family, the Red Dust family is not short of money, and ordinary quality soul bones are not so scarce, but there are very few top quality soul bones over 10,000 years old. Being able to serve as the finale auction item of a high-end auction at the Starlight Auction Hall, which serves as the background for the Starlight royal family, the soul bones of this auction must not be simple. The potential of the fantasy world has been clearly exhausted, and now, his only chance to break through the title Dolua is on the trunk bone. The fusion of ordinary quality trunk bones will definitely not help him break through. Even in his calculations with Jing Hongqian, even if it is a top-notch soul bone that has been around for 50,000 years, a successful fusion may not necessarily help him break through to level 90 soul power. However, Huan Hongqian has not given up, which is also the reason why he has not yet fused his soul bones. Otherwise, as the elder of the Hongqian family, with the thousands of years of heritage of the Hongqian family, it would be no problem to equip him with a full body of soul bones. In the end, they came to the conclusion that in order to help Huan Hongqian break through to level 90 soul power, they must integrate a soul bone with a life attribute of over 50,000 years. Huan Hongqian's exploitation of potential is too fierce. He almost cut off his own path. Initially, his foundation was damaged, and coupled with the side effects of crazily taking medicine to enhance his strength, it was almost difficult to break through to the Soul Dolua realm. But he relied on his resources to push himself to level 89 of soul power, but his body also became worse. It can be said that he was already riddled with wounds, like a piece of paper, easily punctured with a single thrust. Today, I went to the Starlight auction with a smile on my face. Huan Hongqian did intend to buy some things, but also had the idea of taking chances. After conducting capital verification, they were taken to private room number 17 in the high-end auction house, where an auctioneer specifically helped to bid. There were some food and drinks in the private room, and Zaiheng glanced at the soul-guided light curtain across from the sofa and began to wait for the auction to begin. The soul-guiding light curtain suddenly lit up, and a woman in a black dress appeared in the picture. Welcome to Starlight Auction Hall, distinguished guests. I am Zhuya, a senior auctioneer, presiding over this auction for everyone. The auctioneer named Zhuya has a very obvious characteristic, which is excessive development. She looks in her 20s and has developed perfectly, even picking at the eyelids of the fantasy world. I don't know if it's a habit among the three empires, but the auctioneers here are all young and beautiful women. Huan Hongqian calmly said, she is from the Zhu family in the underworld, and she looks a bit familiar. She should be a descendant of an old friend. The old friend mentioned in the world of fantasy can only be his opponent who once participated in the Continent Advanced Soul Master Academy Soul Battle Competition, but it is unknown whether this auctioneer named Zhuya, whose elders graduated from the Starluo Royal Academy or Shrek Academy, is his. I believe many VIPs know that today's auction includes a list of carving knives and soul bones. Let me tell you, this news is true, and the number of carving knives and soul bones listed is double. However, there may be some issues with the first listed carving knife, which is our first item. The name of this listed carving knife is called the Devouring Spirit Carving Knife. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Soul Devouring Engraver. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Soul Devouring Engraver. Surprisingly, it's a spirit-devouring carving knife. Huan Hongqian was slightly surprised, and he was very interested in this carving knife. A display stand was delivered to the platform in front of Zhuya, and without a doubt, it was a listed carving knife called the Spirit-Eating Carving Knife. The volume of the soul-devouring saber itself is very small. It looks like a simple and dark knife, but it has a sharp aura and a profound sense. The soul-devouring saber ranks 99th among the 100 listed knives. Although it ranks lower, it is not weaker than the top 30 knives. The reason why it ranks lower is because it has been cursed by the evil soul master. The soul-devouring saber was created by a genius evil soul master. It was a 9th-level soul master of the Sun and Moon Empire 3,000 years ago, who brought bloody storms to the mainland. He made this saber in his later years. However, after producing this carving knife, the genius evil soul master was killed by someone. The spirit-devouring carving knife was not carried by him, and eventually drifted to the common people. This carving knife had a total of 30.7 masters, but without exception, they all ended up in dire straits. Even 9 people became evil soul masters as a result. It is said that inside this spirit-devouring carving knife, there is a trace of the soul of that genius evil soul master, which can lead people towards evil. Few people can resist it, and the ranking in the back row keeps falling. However, due to its history and past glory, it was not removed from the list of carving knives. This is the history of the soul-devouring saber. Although it is very dangerous, as long as it is not infused with soul power, it will not be backfired. Therefore, it is also excellent as a precious collectible. However, it is best for soul masters with light attributes to use this saber, as it is difficult to be backfired. Huan Hongqian stared at the soul-guiding light curtain, looking a bit excited, but Xiao Hongqian was not very interested. He has a golden aura now, and this carving knife is very easy for him to use, and its ranking is much higher than that of the soul-eating saber. Moreover, this soul-eating saber contains the soul of an evil soul master, which can't help but dispel the idea of Xiao Hongqian asking Huan Hongqian to buy it and give it to Dream Hongqian. The sound of Huan Hongqian appeared in Xiao Hongqian's ear, as there were people from the Starlight auction hall present. He did not speak directly, but used soul power to transmit the sound. This carving knife is even more dangerous than what she said. In my mortal family, over 1,000 years ago, there was an 8th-level soul master who wanted to use the power of the spirit-devouring carving knife to break through the 9th-level soul master, but ultimately died from backlash. That was an 8th-level soul Dolua, a strong soul Dolua, but after 7 years of possession of the spirit-devouring saber, he gradually went crazy and eventually used the spirit-devouring saber to hang himself. In family records, no one has ever been able to live for 10 years after obtaining the spirit-eating blade. Its over 300-year history is mostly shrouded in dust and unknown places. The following sentence was spoken by Huan Hongchen, and the low-level auctioneer responsible for quoting on the side couldn't help but smile awkwardly at them. The starting price for the soul-devouring saber is 500,000 gold soul coins, with each increase not less than 10,000 gold soul coins. Ladies and gentlemen can start bidding now. Zhuya had a smile on her face, but her mood wasn't very happy anymore. This thing is obviously going to be popular. Who would buy such a thing? This unlucky thing happened to her. It seems that this carving knife is going to fall out today. 500,000 gold soul coins. Xiao Hongchen looked at Huan Hongchen in shock, not understanding why he was willing to spend 500,000 golden souls to buy this carving knife. Once, the Hongchen family had already lost a powerful figure. Since Huan Hongchen knew, why did he make such a decision? The junior auctioneer in charge of quoting in room 17 quickly shouted, 500,000 gold soul coins. Zhuya on the stage was taken aback for a moment, and her smile suddenly became sincere. With a small hammer, she said, the VIP in box 17 is offering 500,000 gold soul coins. Do you have any additional VIP? 500,000 gold soul coins once. 500,000 gold soul coins twice. 500,000 gold soul coins 3 times. Zhuya urgently tapped the hammer, eager to get rid of this hot potato. Congratulations to the VIP in box 17 for successfully capturing this spirit-devouring carving knife. Zhuya sincerely congratulated with a hint of gratitude. Someone will remove the spirit-devouring carving knife and deliver it to box 17. When buying at the Starlight auction hall, they will first deliver the purchased items and settle the bill together when they leave. Therefore, there are powerful players guarding the Starlight auction hall, known as Dolua, to prevent anyone from buying something and running away without paying. After the spirit-eating blade was removed, someone presented a second item, which was a small exhibition stand covered by a black cloth. After Zhuya opened the black cloth, it was a jade box containing 9 pills the size of Longan. Next is our second item, the Xuanwu Divine Pill. Zhuya smiled lightly and said. There is a hidden sect called Xianming Sect in the Doling Empire, which is a water attribute sect with 2 terrifying medicinal pills. The first one is called Xianshui Dan, which can wash and regulate the body's magazines and unblock meridians. After taking it, the soul power can be increased significantly, and the cultivation speed will also increase. It is equivalent to increasing the innate soul power of the soul master by 1 level. The Xianshui Dan has a mild effect, and even people with poor physical fitness can use it. The Xuanwu Divine Pill is the second unique pill of the Xianming sect. It has the effect of improving the soul master's physique and stimulating potential. For ordinary people, as long as they do not suffer irreversible trauma, taking such a Xuanwu Divine Pill can restore them to their original state. In terms of value, this Xuanwu Divine Pill is countless times higher than the Xianshui Pill. However, a soul master can only take it once in their lifetime, and taking it again will have no effect. At most, it can play a role in strengthening the foundation and nurturing the essence. For soul masters who have exhausted their potential, such a pill can be considered a peerless treasure. 9 Xuanwu Divine Pills are auctioned together, with a starting price of 1 million gold soul coins, and each additional price must not be less than 100,000 gold soul coins. Seeing this, Huan Hongchen frowned and asked the junior auctioneer in the room, "Do you purchase soul guides here?" Many of the items auctioned off today are very precious. He spent 500,000 gold soul coins on the soul devouring blade, and he didn't want to let go of the Xuanwu divine pill, the upcoming listed blade, and 2 soul bones. But he only had over 30 million gold soul coins on him, and if he wanted to buy all of these things, it was not enough, so he thought of selling soul guides. Of course, he will not sell the overly precious soul guides to the Starlight auction hall, only those that the 3 empires have already mastered. Ah! The girl in the white dress hesitated for a moment, then quickly nodded and said, "Do VIPs want to sell soul guides? Our Starlight auction house can purchase soul guides of any level. If you sell them in large quantities, we can also waive the handling fee for you." Wait a moment. Huan Hongchen waved his hand and didn't rush to sell the soul guide. With the money in his hand, he should be able to buy everything he wanted except for that top-notch torso bone. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. The Dean of Shrek College. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. The Dean of Shrek College, 2 million. Huan Hongchen offered a calm quote. Previously, he bought a Xuanwu divine pill for laughing Hongchen to merge the first soul ring that exceeded the limit, and spent nearly double the price. Because the Xuanwu divine pill has no market price, it is usually sold internally and externally by the Xianming sect after successful refining, with a general price of 300,000 gold soul coins per piece. This time, 9 Xuanwu divine pills will be auctioned together, and the price will definitely not be less than 3 million yuan. Therefore, Huan Hongchen wants to use a super high price to force other people who want to buy Xuanwu divine pills. The VIP in private room number 17 is offering 2 million gold soul coins. Is there a higher price? Zhuya on the auction table was somewhat surprised. Previously, she spent 500,000 gold soul coins to buy the soul devouring saber, but now she has directly quoted a price of 2 million. Even among the nobles in this Starluo city, no one except the Duke can do it. 2 million gold soul coins once. 2 million golden souls. 2.2 million. Someone has chosen a quote and is planning to try bidding with Fantasy Red Dust to see if they want to scare them off. 3 million gold soul coins. Huan Hongchen said without blinking her eyes, and the girl in a white dress beside her quickly quoted a price. 3 million gold soul coins. Upon hearing the second quotation for the 17th private room, many people fell silent, and some who had originally intended to bid also had the idea of backing down. Zhu Yejian saw that no one continued to quote, so she smiled and said, "The VIP in box 17 is quoting 3 million gold soul coins. 3 million gold soul coins for the first time. 3 million gold soul coins for the second time. 3 million gold soul coins for the third time. Congratulations to the VIP in box 17 for purchasing our group of 9 Xuanwu divine pills." Zhuya knocked down the small hammer in her hand, and someone came to take away the Xuanwu divine pill. The third item was also quickly brought up. It was also covered with a black cloth, but it looked quite large. Many people looked at it with curious eyes, and the shape seemed to be a shield. Is it a soul guide? Ladies and gentlemen, this is our third item for today, the 50,000-year-old silver tortoise shell. Zhuya lifted the black cloth and revealed a silver tortoise shell with a diameter of nearly 2 meters. The hawksbill has always been a top-tier turtle spirit beast, and it is also a symbol of longevity. The king of hawksbill is called the golden hawksbill, which is auspicious among turtles and has strong auxiliary abilities. It is known as a auspicious beast. Among turtle spirit beasts, it is an emperor-like existence and a king of turtles. The turtle shell in front of us comes from a mutated golden tortoise shell, which awakens its powerful silver bloodline and suppresses the golden bloodline inside its body. It can be called the silver tortoise shell. In addition to possessing the same abilities as the golden tortoise shell, this silver tortoise shell also had the power to control various elements. The 50,000-year-old silver tortoise shell has the strength no less than the tidal Doluo. Even as a piece of armor, it can withstand attacks below the level of the title Doluo, and can even be used as a material for making a level 9 soul guide. Perhaps after buying it, you can use this silver tortoise shell to make a level 9 soul guide, becoming the first level 9 soul guide in our Star Luo Emperor Kingdom. It's ridiculous. Huan Hongchen snorted coldly. Without the design drawings of the 9th level soul guide and the guidance of the 9th level soul master, people from the 3 major empires could not have become 9th level soul masters. He was extremely convinced of this. However, this turtle shell is indeed a very precious material, possessing not only golden bloodline but also the ability to control elements. Although this turtle shell is silver, it has golden veins on it, proving that this silver hawksbill still has golden veins inside its body. The Zhuya auctioneer is not wrong, this turtle shell can indeed be used as the main material for making level 9 soul guides. There is a significant correlation between the silver tortoise shell and the final auction item, and VIPs may choose to make their own purchases. If they obtain the silver tortoise shell and the final auction item together, they can benefit greatly. The auctioneer Zhuya also revealed some insider information about the follow-up. Today's finale auction item is a torso soul bone, and now there is a 50,000-year-old silver turtle shell, which is related to the final finale auction item. Could it be that this finale auction item is the torso bone of this 50,000-year-old silver tortoiseshell? The auctioneer Zhuya joked, of course, our final auction item today will definitely not be the body and soul bones of this silver tortoiseshell, but there is also a significant connection between the two. The face of Huan Hongchen remained unchanged, and the trunk bones of turtle soul beasts were all their shells. The shell of the silver tortoiseshell is now here, and of course, there can be no more soul bones. Moreover, this silver tortoiseshell has elemental attributes. If it really has a soul bone in its body, the probability of it being a trunk bone is only 50%, and the remaining 50% is a skull because the power of the elements is closely related to spiritual power. The starting price of this silver tortoise shell is the same as the previous Xuanwu Divine Pill, with a starting price of 1 million gold soul coins and an additional price of no less than 100,000 gold soul coins each time. As soon as this price is offered, many people have extinguished the idea of quoting. This turtle shell does not match their attributes, and they are not level 9 soul mentors, so there is no need to waste gold soul coins. 1.1 million gold soul coins. But someone still quoted, offering 1.1 million gold soul coins. The Zhuya auctioneer glanced in the direction of the voice and said, "Is there a higher price for the VIP in box 1, who is bidding 1.1 million gold soul coins? 1.5 million gold soul coins." Huan Hongchen continues to offer a quote. He is very interested in this turtle shell and also in the final auction item. Since he wants to buy it, why not buy it together? Anyway, he doesn't plan to miss today's auction item. A middle-aged man in box 1 stood up in anger and cursed loudly, "Damn it, that bastard is fighting me for something." The man has a very robust physique, with antique bronze skin and white hair that stands up like steel needles, giving him a look of over 50 years old. The woman sitting on the sofa frowned and said, "You're so old, you can't hold your breath. You are the vice dean of the Soul Guidance Department at Shrek College. You can just spend money to buy whatever you want, and still search and search like before." Upon hearing the woman's scolding, the man couldn't help feeling a bit embarrassed and whispered, "I feel a bit expensive, and I can't bear to buy." The woman was actually angry and laughed, shouting to the auctioneer beside her, "We are bidding 2 million gold soul coins. Liner. You're crazy." The man who had just sat down got excited and stood up again, but the woman just glanced at him and snorted lightly. It was this glance that instantly extinguished the excited man and sat down with a helpless expression. The VIP in box 1 is offering 2 million gold soul coins. Is there a higher price? Zhuya said with a smile. He just received information behind the scenes that the two factions currently competing, Shrek Academy and others, have long known about it, but they have only just inquired about the background of the other faction. 2.3 million gold soul coins. Huan Hongchen continues to quote without showing any weakness. End of this chapter.